Welcome back, everyone. It's time to channel our inner Charlize Theron, an advocate for equal pay in Hollywood, to learn the art of negotiating and getting paid our worth. This will be hosted by business mogul Antoinette Profi, who's the founder and managing director at 88BC Africa. Antoinette, we're so happy to have you here today. Take it away.
Thank you so much, Sherlyn. You're doing all of the things over there and looking fabulous while doing it. Love, love, love. Hello, 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 Trailblazers. I am so excited to be here today. Momentum, thank you for this fab opportunity. And oh, for flipping your M. What? What a power move. What a power move. I'm truly honored to be sharing my experience on how to negotiate and mastering the fine art, I call it a fine art, of negotiating. What an honor to be here today. I am so looking forward to the rest of the schedule for today for all of you guys, so you need to stay tuned for the rest of the day. So let's get into it. I know without a doubt that as women, negotiation for us is not just reserved for the boardroom. Our lives are a negotiation. We're negotiating all day long, right? Whether it is with hubby, whether it's with babies, whether it's with teachers, your boss, your clients, your suppliers, you are negotiating all day long. But how often do you get to the end of your day and feel like, whoa, yes, today I slayed all day long? Or do you put up that very important introspective moment at the end of the day because you just get tired of the self-loathing that follows because you know you didn't attain your goals for the day? So let's help you with that and get you over to the winning circle so you can win all day, every single day. I'm going to be sharing 3 steps that you can use as you fine-tune your negotiation skills. So what I'm going to be sharing is a lot of pre-work before you get into the boardroom, because that's the sweet spot. If you can nail the pre-work before the boardroom or before that Zoom call, I can guarantee you that that negotiation would simply flow. Okay, so let's get into it. Step number 1, you have to get out of your own way. Get out of your own way. The only way that you can negotiate your worth is if you can master yourself. So I want to challenge you today and really throw out this challenge because I know that self-limiting beliefs will impede your success. I've experienced this myself on my 17-year entrepreneurial journey. Yeah, I can't believe it's been that long. Yeah, so I know without a doubt, also working with female founders, that if you have self-limiting beliefs, like imposter syndrome or low self-esteem, there's no way that you're going to be negotiating for your worth. There's just no way. So step number 1 is for you to deal with your stuff and get out of your own way. Okay, story time. Let me tell you guys a little story. I was in an abusive relationship in my early 20s. So by the time I left that relationship and that mess, by the grace of God, I was able to move on and start my first business at the age of 26 after leaving McKinsey & Company. So I thrived. I was blessed enough to be one of those that could thrive after an abusive relationship. But guess what happened? I got over the mess and I got over the guy, but I didn't work through it. I didn't work through the indelible mark that it had left on my psyche. So what happened when I started running my business? The way that I interacted with my male counterparts, male suppliers, male clients was a mess, a colossal mess. And that impeded my growth in my first business for the first few years. And until I'd experienced my first colossal failure, and what? Was it a failure of note, guys? I then decided, let me take a step back and do some deep introspection and really understand what has led to this failure. And I could trace it all the way back to the abuse. And here's why. I got over him, I got over the mess, but I didn't work through it. So it was just sitting there and it was simmering, right? And it showed up in all of my male relationships. And so I had to deal. I had to deal with how it impacted my confidence. I had to deal with how it impacted my self-esteem. So I share this with you guys today so that you can understand that you can get over something, but you have to make your way through it. And I know, especially for women of color, we don't believe in therapy. We don't. But here's what I'm going to encourage you to do. So as I've challenged you to deal with your self-limiting beliefs, I have now shared a story of how I had to. Here's a task for you. I'm going to encourage you to assign some of your hard-earned cash to a life coach if you're employed, or to a business coach if you're a female founder. And here's why. You might not be able to identify those self-limiting beliefs on your own, so get the help that you need in order to make sure that you do this very crucial, you take this very crucial step. And I promise you, you will not regret it. Because it's not only going to serve you in business, it's not only going to serve you at the office, but it will serve you for the rest of your life. So, step number 1, get out of your own way. Okay, so let's move on to step number 2. I love this one. Because I love numbers. I am fully with Peter Drucker, who says that you can't manage what you can't measure. So step number 2, you have to get your numbers right. So now you've sorted out your stuff and you've gotten to understand your worth. What does that translate to? Numbers. So do your research. If you are employed, do some online research as to what other people are getting paid in your industry. At least in the advertising industry, which was my first business, there's so much transparency around what creative directors are paid, and the space is very open. So I'm hoping that that's the case for all spaces. But do your research, right? And if you can't find anything online, please make sure that you speak to people around you. Listen, you ask the guys around you, my man, same position, same qualification, same expertise as you. How much are you earning? I can guarantee you the guy will tell you. Because they have no shame in their game, right? Like, men will negotiate for themselves, 1, and 2, they will have no issues telling you how much they're earning. Because they just, I guess, exude that kind of confidence, right? So ask the people around you, 1, and then do your online research for yourself so that you can land on a market-related number. So that you have now understood your worth. Second step is you have the number. You've landed on that number. Whether it is a salary or whether it is billing for a project if you're a female founder, you've now landed on that number. Okay. Now you have to make sure that as you've landed on that number, and you might find that, and again, for women of color, you might find that that number freaks you out a bit because you're just not used to earning that much money. But if that's what your peers are earning, if that's what the guy that you've chatted to is earning, then you start asking for that number. And then you might feel uncomfortable in the beginning. That's okay. That's okay. So here's what you do. Turn it into a song if you have to. Dance to it every morning until you get comfortable with the number that you're now going to be asking for where you're at, right? And if anyone, and I totally agree with Lovey on this, if anyone denies you that number, then you're possibly sitting at the wrong table. So this is the other thing I need you to do. This is the task for step number 2. You've settled on the number. You are confident with that number because you've danced your way to that confidence. The next thing I need for you to do is to not be afraid to show up with that number confidently. confidently oozing it. It needs to come out of your pores, not arrogantly, not driven by ego because you've done your research, but confidently. Step up into the space. So, step number 1 and step number 2 was obviously work that you have to do outside of the boardroom. Outside of the boardroom, these 2 steps are possibly the most important. And it's the pre-work that will help you once you get into that boardroom. Okay, so step number 3. And this I like a whole lot because now you are in the boardroom, right? Or you're on that Zoom call and you're ready to negotiate. Here's the first thing I need you to do. So here's the challenge. Leave your emotions at the door. As women, we have the propensity to flow from our heart space. I need you to stay in your head space. You have to show up strategically to negotiate. You cannot negotiate from an emotional place. And so don't fumble the bag. You are now in the boardroom. You are now on that Zoom call. Don't fumble the bag by 1, perhaps being arrogant, and 2, emotionally arrogant at it as well. No. Do not walk into that space with your emotions. Keep it strategic. Stay in your strategic space. And here's what I'd love for you to do. Here's what I'd really encourage all of you to do is, and this was me at the age of 26, after 9 months of working at this business and it is yielding nothing and thinking to myself, is it ever going to happen? At the age of 26, we get invited into our first boardroom, first presentation, and I walk in there armed now with a strategy that I was certain was going to blow them away. I walk in, I'm 26. Guys, I am 43 years old now, right? Imagine what I looked like at 26. I looked really young. And so the minute I stepped into the boardroom, surrounded by very seasoned professionals, I got the look. You know that look that says, what is she doing here? That look that immediately undermines you even before you've started. But I was confident and I had the audacity and the gumption to sit myself down, to stay in my power, to deliver that presentation. But here's what I did. I read the room. As I was presenting, I could see that I was losing them. So what did I do? I flipped into Afrikaans immediately. And I presented in Afrikaans. Yes, the slides were not in Afrikaans, but I immediately had the wherewithal to switch things up. And here's what happened. Not only did I secure the bag, but I left there with a new circle of friends. That was our first client at the age of 26. And they not only became a client, I didn't only secure the bag, but they became good friends. Even until today, 17 years later, they'll still call me and laugh about 26-year-old me with the audacity to walk into a boardroom and present in Afrikaans. So, once you're in the boardroom, leave your emotions. Check your emotions at the door. And number 2, make sure that you are completely and utterly confident with what you're about to deliver. So as Lavi said, be good, so good at what you do that people can't deny you into the room. And then number 3, have the ability to read the room. And when you read the room and it's not going the way that you want, switch it up almost very immediately. And so that experience for me is something that I have taken into every boardroom, and I have had significant success. I've made millions, I've lost millions over the years, over the past 17 years, expanded an agency that I started in my mother's lounge with 200 Rand and a laptop to East Africa. I just came back from Mauritius before our lockdown after spending 9 months there. And because I'm able to negotiate, and I promise you guys, if you do the pre-work, the work in the boardroom will flow so much better. So, in closing, let's recap. Step number 1, get out of your own way. Very important. Step number 2, get your numbers right. And step number 3, get your money. Secure the bag by leaving and checking your emotions at the door. And so I'd love to encourage you be very aware, be very cognizant of what success means for you. Not defined by someone that you're sitting at a dinner table with, not defined by the gram, not defined by anything else, but you decide what it looks like. So if you are negotiating for a salary increase, if you're negotiating to keep working from home because it's actually worked for you, or you're negotiating that renewal with that stingy client, here's what I'd love for you to do. Stay in your power. Stay in your power. Female founder or employee, I need you to promise me today that you are going to stay in your power. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Antoinette. Talk about putting things into perspective. Own your power. So, Antoinette, I've got a few questions for you. Did I hear you correctly when you said you've made millions and lost millions? Tell me, was it easier to make your first million or the last million you've made, since we're talking about millions now?
Shaylin, I think it just becomes easier. No arrogance or ego here, but it becomes easier. I promise you that first million, I didn't even realize that we'd made it. We'd closed a deal with the client. My accountant called and said, do you realize that you've actually just made your first million? And I was only 28 years old then. But
Wow.
it was never really about the money for me, and I suppose that's why I wasn't paying so much attention to it. It was about impact for me from day one.
Antoinette, you also mentioned dancing your way to success. I'm going to have to see that twerk of yours. Come on, Antoinette, you can't tell the ladies that we need to twerk our way to success. Give us a little shimmy, shimmy.
Okay, shimmy, shimmy, baby. I'm not twerking.
So, dance your way to success. I love that, because dancing is joyful.
Yeah.
And success should be that. It should be a joyful experience. Like you said, at some point, you didn't even realize that you're making millions because you're stepping in your power, you're in line with your passion and your purpose. Why is that sometimes, firstly, more difficult for women, and then on top of that, even more difficult for black women, for women of color? And then how do we get past that? How do we get out of our own ways, as you put it?
What an amazing question, Shaylin. Thank you for asking that. Now, I come from a colored community out in the east in Joburg, and very small community, and that community programmed me to do things a certain way. I should have been married at 21, and I was heading down an aisle, and I'm so thankful that I stopped myself. And here I am at 43, no husband, no kids, no dog, no pot plant. I love traveling, I love expanding my business, and that's been my focus for the past 17 years, right? So what I had to do, Shaylin, as one of the first things coming into this entrepreneurial arena, was to deal with my conditioning. I had been conditioned and programmed to do things a certain way, but there was always this big part of me that would question that conditioning. And I even, at some point, I think I was 22, I said to my mums, Mum, show me the actual rule book, the actual rule book. Can someone pull it out that says that from a societal perspective, I, Anto Profi, am supposed to get married at 22? Show it to me. Can someone actually pull out the book? And from that day, I decided I will never allow society to dictate my life to me. Yes, I'm 43, going to be 44 in December, and I will get married and I will have the babies. But I was not going to allow society to dictate to me when it needs to happen. So to answer your question, Shaylin, it's conditioning. It's where we come from, right? And I think as women, we tend to hold on to that conditioning longer than possibly males do. So I'd love to encourage our attendees and our listeners today to, again, like I said, you know, take a moment and just soak in you as if you're soaking in a bubble bath. Just take some time during the meditation, perhaps later, to just soak in you and ask yourself some crucial questions. And I will guarantee you some of those questions that you'll ask could be traced back to your conditioning. So unlearn, undo, and just be. Just be.
Mm-hmm. Antoinette, are you sure my aunties aren't your aunties? Because every single time the family gets together,
Shaylin.
jy gaan Stowwerig raak daar op die rak. You're alone for too long. What do you have to say to all of those aunties out there who put so much pressure on young women who want to do things differently? Maybe not at all, but for some, or maybe later. Help me asseblief.
Okay, I hope some of the aunties are watching. Because
Love the aunties too, hey?
And I do. I mean, it does take a village, right? And that's the one thing that I'm grateful for in how we were raised was that community. But the continent alone, Shaylin, okay, let's track all the way back. Our communities, our provinces, our country, our continent, we are the ones that we've been waiting for many generations, right? So Auntie leaves Shaylin to impact and do what she needs to do, not just for herself, but for future generations of other colored girls, other African kids that will be running around, right? So leave her to do what she needs to do so that in 10 years' time, in 15 years' time, we can see a significant change on this continent. And that's why she's delaying kids. That's why I've delayed having kids. And I will have them. But right now, for me, when I'm old and gray and sitting on my stoop someday, I want to have left an indelible mark on this continent and have shattered poverty just a little bit, just a tiny bit.
Antoinette, you are incredible. And I wish that you get all of the light and the love and the lekker vibes that you so graciously share with all of us.
Thank you.
Do you think young Antoinette is proud of the woman, of the mogul, of this powerhouse that you have become?
Yeah, she's probably like, I didn't expect it to be as rough. But yeah, I'm sure she's very proud, yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
Thank you so much, Shaylin.
Thank you so much, Antoinette. Talk about putting things into perspective. I hope we can all start having braver conversations. Did you know that it'll take an extra 36 years? I'm going to say that again, 36 years to close the gender pay gap after the pandemic. But outside of having these conversations, how else do you think we can narrow that gap? This is not a monologue, so I want you to engage with me on Instagram, on Twitter. Let's get talking, and also let's give away some prizes. Who wants to win their very own lipstick shade of unstoppable success? I'm wearing it and I'm loving it, and I would love for you to win as well. I don't know if you know, but I'm not just going to give prizes for the sake of giving prizes. You're going to have to work for it or engage for it, chat for it. Looking at the leaderboard, a big congratulations to Adila Hashim, Mpo Moreke, and Natalie February. You have won an exclusive shade of Unstoppable Success lipstick kit. We'll be in touch about getting you your gifts. Up next, we're going to take a moment to center ourselves. Check out how Ellen van Velden gets us to inhale, exhale, and my favorite part, Dala what we must, with a guided meditation.
Hi everybody, welcome to your breath awareness meditation. So in today's meditation, we'll use the simple tools of attention and awareness to bring all your focus to your breath. And by doing so, we'll bring a sense of clarity and ease into your body and your mind. So when you're ready, let's get started. Hi everybody, welcome to your breath awareness meditation. So we're going to start in a comfortable seat, so you can sit yourself on a block, a bolster, a pillow, even a chair if that feels good, but I'd really like you to be sitting upright if possible. And then just taking a moment to kind of settle in and get rid of all the wiggles and all the natural urges to move around and fidget. And then whenever it feels comfortable, and if it feels comfortable, then closing your eyes. And if it doesn't feel safe to close your eyes, then you can just gaze down softly to the tip of your nose. So we'll begin this meditation just with a couple rounds of deep breaths. Just letting yourself take full deep breaths in through your nose. And then opening the mouth and just sighing it out. So 2 or 3 more just like that. Imagine every single time you inhale, you could fill the body to the brim with the breath. And then imagine every single time you exhale the sense of emptying out completely every single last drop of the breath. As many rounds as you feel you need to. Just this sense of letting go, of settling in. And then whenever you feel ready, releasing the breath. Bringing your lips to seal. And just letting the body breathe completely naturally. And we'll start first just with a mental scan of the body. So starting first by bringing your awareness to the crease between your brows. And imagine you could bring a deep softening there. And then allowing that softness to fall across the eyelids, the skin on your cheeks. Get really soft and spacious in your jaw, your tongue. And then imagine all this awareness, all this softness could spill over the body. Allowing the shoulders to move away from the ears, away from the jaw. Let your arms get heavy. Let your hands rest. And then dragging the softness down into your belly. Let your belly relax completely. And as it does, making it a little bit easier to breathe. And then lastly, bringing the softness into the hip creases. Feeling that your sit bones get a little bit heavier down to the earth, the block, the pillow underneath you. And just arriving. And then we start to take our attention to our breath. So we're not adjusting the breath in any way. If you'd like to visualize it, imagine taking a step back away from your body, stepping out of your skin, and just observing your own body breathing. So first, honing in all your attention just to the chest. Noticing the rise and fall of the chest, of the collarbones. Maybe you can feel some movement in the shoulders, in the shoulder blades at the back of the body. Just keeping your awareness on the chest. expanding that awareness down to the ribs, to the sides of your body. And then noticing how every single time you inhale, the sides of the body expand out towards the inner arms. And every single time you exhale, everything draws in and down again. Keeping your undivided attention on the sensation in the sides of your body. And then taking your awareness down into your belly. Noticing now the movement in your belly as you breathe. The expansion on the inhale. And the softness and the ease on the exhale. Just keeping all your attention on how it feels to breathe in your body, noticing your belly. And then see if you can expand your attention to the temperature of the breath. So the cool air that moves in through the nostrils, and the warm air that leaves the body. The cool air moving in through the nostrils, and the warm air that leaves the body. And then I want you to visualize stepping back into your body, back into your skin. And now the practice of Pranayama, so the control of the breath. And I want you first just to take an easy breath in through your nose. And a super soft exhale. And then when you're ready, we're going to breathe in for a count of 4, 3, 2, 1. And straight away exhaling for 4, 3, 2, 1. Breathing in again. 4, 3, 2, 1. And exhaling out through the nose for 4, 3, 2, 1. We have 2 more rounds. Breathing in for 4, 3, 2, 1. And a long exhale for 4, 3, 2, 1. Last round, filling to the brim. Inhale for 4, 3, 2, 1. Pause at the top. See if you can take an extra sip of air. And then a long exhale again for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Release the control and the attachment to the breath. Let it come back again to its natural cycle and rhythm. And just maybe noticing a change you feel in your physical, mental, emotional, energetic bodies. And maybe just noticing your level of presence. I'm going to leave you here now with your eyes closed and your attention on your breath. And as many times as you need to, come back to this meditation and we'll breathe together.
And woo-sa. Don't you feel a little bit more at peace now? Now, meditation is said to help you manage stress levels and emotional well-being. And I don't know about you, but I'm feeling a lot calmer now. Many of you might not know me. I'm Sherlyn Barnes, and I'm also part of KFM Mornings, which means I have to get up very early. If I want to get my day started right, we breathe.